Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're stepping completely away from the endless, deafening noise of the modern world. Instead, we're embarking on a deeply reflective, emotional journey into a habit that is silently draining your life force, literally day after day. We're going to explore the profound power of silence, and specifically, the lost art of not explaining yourself. It's really a quiet revolution of the mind. So settle in, take a breath, clear your head of all those outside voices, and let's begin.
The moment you stop explaining yourself, everything changes. It's a massive claim, I know, but it is deeply, undeniably true. See, we go through our entire lives carrying this incredibly heavy burden, right? We genuinely believe that if we can just find the perfect sequence of words, if we can just make people truly understand our perspective, well then, everything will fall into place and will finally be accepted. We think our peace is waiting for us on the other side of their comprehension, but actually, that's an illusion. It's a mirage that just keeps us running in circles.
Because here's the brutal reality we all have to confront. Most people don't fail in life because they lack talent or vision or drive. They don't fail because the world is too hard or too unforgiving. They simply fail because they waste their vital, finite energy trying to be understood by the wrong people. Think about the countless hours you've probably spent agonizing over a text message or lying awake at night replaying a conversation in your head, just trying to defend your character to an empty room. Ask yourself this right now. Why are you wasting your energy trying to convince someone who has already made up their mind about you?
All right, let's break this down in section 1, the approval addiction and seeking validation.
To really grasp why we fall into this trap, we gotta look at human nature. We are profoundly social creatures. And deep down, honestly, most people are completely addicted to approval. We're constantly, almost desperately seeking validation, acceptance, and understanding from the world around us. We want the nod, we want the applause. And because of this deep-seated need, this invisible addiction, it forces us to explain absolutely everything. We explain our career choices to family members who don't even share our ambition. We explain our boundaries to the exact people who want to cross them. We offer up our most personal actions for the judgment of others, desperately hoping they'll just stamp it with their approval. But here is the heavy truth that you need to internalize today. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Your life is your own. Your choices, as long as they're aligned with your deep personal values, do not require a courtroom defense in the court of public opinion. You're simply not on trial. Realizing this, like really feeling it in your bones, is the absolute first step toward reclaiming your personal power and your peace of mind. Which brings us to section 2, draining your own power and the cost of defense.
Every single time you over-explain yourself to the wrong people, you lose energy. You're handing over a literal piece of your own vitality to someone who, let's be honest, probably isn't even truly listening. It's like pouring clean water into a broken glass. It is exhausting, and it leaves you entirely depleted.
And as your energy drains away, you lose focus. Your mental clarity just slips into the static. Instead of looking forward at your goals, looking at the horizon of what you actually want to achieve, you end up trapped looking backward. You're analyzing a past conversation, agonizing over whether you use the right tone, wondering what they think of you right now. Your focus is completely hijacked by their perception, leaving you blind to your own potential. And ultimately, because of all that, you lose momentum. This invisible loss of momentum is what slowly, quietly keeps you stuck in life. You find yourself treading water in this endless, turbulent ocean of other people's opinions, completely unable to swim toward your own destination. You're working incredibly hard just to stay afloat in someone else's mind, while your own dreams are just left anchored at the bottom. This is the core trap right here, defending your life versus building your life. When you're constantly explaining yourself, you're locked in a defensive posture. You're completely stagnant. You're essentially standing in front of an empty plot of land, arguing for hours with passersby about why you bought it, instead of picking up a hammer and actually building your house. The proactive, powerful state of building your life requires quiet action. It requires sweat and focus, not loud defense and constant negotiation.
Let's face the facts in section 3, the hard truth and accepting reality. People who don't want to understand you will never understand you. No matter how eloquently you speak, no matter how much flawless logic you use, no matter how deeply you open your heart and explain your intentions, if someone is committed to misunderstanding you, whether because it serves their ego, their worldview, or just their own insecurities, your words are just noise to them. The more you try to break through that willful ignorance, the more power you hand over to them, and the more exhausted you become.
So what happens? You end up becoming completely exhausted, entirely drained without doing anything meaningful. You fought this brutal, taxing battle of words that had absolutely no prize at the end. You've sacrificed your own inner peace, your own quiet joy, simply to win an argument with someone who wasn't even fighting fair to begin with. It is a massive tragedy of misallocated energy. So, how do we fix this? That's Section 4, the power of silence and what strong people do. Strong people make a definitive, unwavering choice. They absolutely refuse to argue pointlessly. They refuse to over-explain themselves to skeptics, and they refuse to chase approval. And listen, this isn't about arrogance. It's not about thinking they're better than anyone else. It's about profound self-respect. It's about immense emotional control. They know fundamentally that their worth just isn't up for debate, so they simply stop showing up to the argument. Instead of talking, they adopt 3 clear Stoic disciplines. First, they work in silence. Second, they stay fiercely focused on their own path, completely unbothered by the noise on the sidelines. And third, they let the results speak for them. In a modern world where everyone is shouting for attention, where everyone is broadcasting exactly what they're going to do before they even do it, the strongest, most dominant thing you can possibly do is just quietly do it. This is how you build unbreakable psychological resilience. On one hand, you have the choice to waste your precious, limited energy on people who simply don't matter to your ultimate destiny. On the other hand, you can channel that exact same energy into your personal growth, your skills, your health, your future. When you finally make this shift, you find genuine peace. You find laser focus. You find true freedom, because your energy is finally being invested into your own expansion, not someone else's fragile perception. And that leads us to our final part, Section 5, Let Results Speak and the Quiet Transformation. The less you explain, the more you build. It's a beautiful compounding cycle. The less time you spend talking about your life or trying to justify your life, the more time and raw energy you have to actually create it. And as you build more, your life speaks for itself, which naturally leads to needing to explain even less. That is how real transformation happens. It doesn't happen in loud debates. It happens quietly, in the dark, through daily discipline, far away from both the applause and the criticism. One day, if you practice this quiet discipline long enough, you're going to wake up and a deep, liberating realization will hit you. You never needed to convince anyone. It was always an illusion. You didn't need their permission. You didn't need their applause or their blessing. You just needed to quietly, intensely focus on becoming better every single day. The chains you felt, they were entirely self-imposed. Results are louder than explanations. Let your actions be your voice. Let your success be your noise. Stop telling the world who you are and start showing them through the undeniable reality of what you have built in the dark. A towering skyscraper doesn't need to explain its height, right? It simply stands there. Be the skyscraper. If you are ready to reclaim your energy, to stop explaining yourself, and to focus solely on your own quiet growth, make sure you subscribe to Gask Daily Motivation, because the next explainer just might change the way you think about life. But before you go, I want you to really ask yourself this. What incredible things could you build today if you simply stopped trying to explain yourself to the world? Until next time, stay focused, stay silent, and let your results do the talking.